Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ASPA podcast. My name is Karen, and I am the marketing coordinator here at ASPA. Today, we are with Gretchen Lawn. She's an HR consultant at ESC of Northeast Ohio. Hello, Gretchen, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So, Gretchen, before we start with our topic, could you give us a little introduction about yourself and your background?
Sure. So I do work for the ESC of Northeast Ohio, and I know that educational services centers are different in every state. So in Ohio, we're kind of the liaison between the State Department of Education and the districts. So we help support districts with state mandated initiatives or really whatever. So I am an HR consultant there. So it's not a typical consultant role. I work for the ESC. I'm paid by the ESC. But districts, what I do is I facilitate professional development for human resources directors mostly. So I design and facilitate whatever trainings HR directors might need.
Awesome, thank you.
Mhm.
So, our topic today is going to be AI in the HR department and beyond. So, to start, when people hear AI, they either think of ChatGPT or Terminator 2. How do you define what AI really means in a K-12 HR context?
So I think AI and the feelings associated with it are not uncommon. I remember back in the day when texting was new, and I thought to myself, like, what is this? I will never text anyone ever. It seems so impersonal, and I'm going to use the phone. And now here we are, I don't even know, 20 years later, and no one calls anymore, and it's shocking when they do. So I feel like AI is similar. It's new, and so it's scary. And it actually probably should be a little scary, especially for HR directors. This is the first like technology that has the potential to learn from us. So we have to make sure that not only are we teaching it what we want it to know and not teaching it anything harmful or bias, but we also have to make sure that everyone in our organization is also being as safe as we are with the use of AI.
Mhm. And how do you think districts can introduce AI safely and responsibly?
So I thought a lot about this, especially in my role, and it's a part of what I do. But I would say the most important thing is training staff, and not, some people, but literally every single staff member, even if they're not, necessarily going to use AI at work, they might. So from admin, bus drivers, secretaries, intervention specialists, like even substitutes, we really have to make sure that we're training them, and not just in our policy, but more importantly, really how AI works and how to remain safe and how to protect the district. So just one example, if I can, we already have acceptable use policies that tell us like we can't use our work email for personal email, and we can't use our work calendar for personal events, but lots of people do it. And, it doesn't do anything other than violate the AUP, but it's not really a problem. With AI, I really kind of liken it to Ghostbusters. If you cross the streams, so if you're going to use your work AI account for personal questions, it could be kind of catastrophic potentially. I mean, that's a harsh word, but for the district. So just think about it this way, like even if it's unintentional, your bias from something personal could come into play when you're asking future work questions. So like if I ask my work AI through my work account, recommend the next 5 nonfiction books I should read, and I give it the last 5 nonfiction books I have read, and I don't, like I don't pick only the education books. I just give it the last 5 nonfiction books I've read. So realistically, like in all true fairness, I actually, the last 5 books I've read are a Thurgood Marshall biography, a Tulsa Race Massacre biography, a book about the theft of North Carolina's Bill of Rights. I know these are super exciting, but this is what I read. A book about Memorial Hospital after Hurricane Katrina, and then Culturize, which is an education book. But those books could potentially lead AI to make assumptions about who I am and what I believe. So it might think I'm an activist. And then anything moving forward that I ask it work related, it might take some of that knowledge or assumption into its future answers. So really training people, not just how to use it and how to be safe, but like the inherent risks about, bias that we're possibly teaching it. Because we really just have to make sure that the organization, right, is safe. Because if my name is, I am the ESC of Northeast Ohio, and then my personal bias comes in, it's reflecting on that Northeast Ohio, organization. So not only should people be trained in like how to update their settings and turn off sharing for the world, but also how to use it responsibly because it comes back to the district. So training is so essential for everybody. And it really probably should happen a lot because AI keeps shifting and changing.
But where would you see that information? I mean, you say that the system can create this bias and make a profile of you that maybe it's not in accordance to the district, but where could someone access that information?
So nobody would be able to access that information. But let's say like I create a training and I ask AI to build me a training, and without vetting what it builds, it puts in some of those assumptions like, well, I assume because whatever I've asked it, I assume because you are an activist, we're going to gear this conversation towards, political things, so like maybe in some of what it puts in that training, it has some political undertones that it really shouldn't have in that workplace. So it wouldn't, like, nobody would see it except for me. But if it uses those assumptions to build the future things, it might consider,
Sure.
political things that it really shouldn't in the work environment. So, I mean, I know I was thinking like something else, like somebody, like you might want to ask it, like, where do I go to church on Easter Sunday or something, right? And then it learns about you. So it could potentially take some of those things into consideration. Is it going to? Who knows? Who knows? But I mean, even our inherent biases when we write like job descriptions, we might, be writing for like an administrative assistant and use the words nurturing and patient and caring, and it is going to assume we want a female, whether that's what we not want or not. So the job posting or job description could be written in that way, putting that bias in there that we've unintentionally taught it.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you for the explanation. So, do you have any concrete examples of AI tools that are already making HR work easier or more effective?
Yeah, so I feel like I talked all doom and gloom, so I'm sorry. But like AI is amazing if you use it right and if you use it well. A couple things that I think are exceptional for HR directors is Notebook LM. And I know a lot of people have heard of Notebook LM, but what it does is you give it the sources. So it is not pulling anything from the internet. It is not taking your assumptions. It is pulling in whatever resources you provide to it. So policies, a manual, a handbook, website, whatever. And then it uses those resources to produce a million things. So it can produce a podcast. It can produce a video with narrated slide deck. It can produce an FAQ document or a briefing doc or a mind map or a quiz. It can produce all these things with those sources you put in. You can also share that notebook so that if you, let's say you upload your policy manual and you share your notebook with your staff now can go into that notebook and ask it questions, and it will pull the answers right from that policy notebook. So you don't have to be that one answering those questions all the time. I've also been using Claude so much more than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really good at conversations, but Claude creates things, it creates artifacts. So if you ask ChatGPT to design you like a 30-day project plan or learning plan or PDF or whatever, it does sort of, but it doesn't make anything clean or user friendly. It also doesn't push back because it wants to please you. It's your assistant. So if you're like, this is what I want to do, it's like, cool, that's the best thing ever. Claude will push back and tell you you're missing things or there may be better ways, but it also creates like interactive things that not only can you use, but you can share with other people. And the quality is really good. So you can make interactive onboarding checklists or interactive bias guidance documents or whatever. And again, if you share them, then other people can use them or customize them or whatever. And really, both of those are free. So a lot of what I do with AI, people ask me all the time, like, what do I pay for? I pay right now $20 a month for ChatGPT. That's it.
Mhm.
And I use everything else like that's even out there. And honestly, I don't know that I'm going to pay for ChatGPT anymore because I have been using Claude a lot more, and Claude's $20. So I might switch to Claude, but that is the only amount of money I spend. There are so many things that are free that are good, that I think when people are spending a lot of money, they may be paying too much for things they may not need.
But do you have a free option and a paid option, or is it
Yeah. So
always?
no, so free ChatGPT and Claude both have free options. There are some things you can't do with ChatGPT for free. You can't create your own GPT, which actually is also a really cool thing that admin can do or HR directors can do, create their own GPTs, but can't do that. The only thing that happens with the free versions is you'll eventually time out for the day if you talk
Uh-huh.
to it too much. So the paid version gets you the ability to talk to it longer. But even still, like Claude only shuts you down for like, I don't know, it like 4 or 6 hours. So it's not even a full like work day.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the paid really gets you, the ability to have either additional features or more current versions like ChatGPT 5, or allows you to create some things, but it's not necessary. You don't need a paid account to get started.
Okay, that's good to know. So to finish the conversation, can you share maybe an example or two of HR systems that could be made more efficient with AI?
Yeah, so like Claude, for example, it you can download an extension and Claude can analyze, and also they have Microsoft Copilot for Excel if you're not a Google person.
Mm-hmm.
But it analyzes text-based data in spreadsheets. So we all have spreadsheets that we've given after like surveys or exit interviews or whatever, and we have all this written data. And we spend hours trying to comb through it and figure out what people have written and what they've said. And Claude, you literally put like equals Claude in a text in one cell, and you're like, summarize this data from this column. And in 2 seconds, it has summarized all that text-based data, given us like whatever we want, key takeaways, summary, the frequency of responses, like what our next steps might be based on that data. So fast. And there are a million other ways that Claude and or Copilot for Excel can do things with spreadsheets. It's incredible. And then the other one, I would say, I mean, I know there's a million out there, but I think Tango, which is a screenshot tutorial, is really underrated. Um, Tango, you make a Tango, which is again a tutorial, a screenshot, step-by-step tutorial for how to do something. So in HR, it could be anything, logging into your payroll or how to, put in sick leave or whatever. And it's the same question you get asked 300 times. And like you might have already a screenshot PDF that you send people. But what Tango does is it's interactive and it's online and it guides you. So it opens up a tab next to whatever the person is doing on their computer and literally walks them through step by step so that it looks exactly like it does on their screen at the exact same time. And you can check off what you've done and it will move you to the next step. So it is just this really clean cut way for people to access some of those like step by step how to things in a really efficient, quick way. And again, it gets you so much time back because you're not answering the same questions over and over
Mm-hmm.
again.
That is really cool.
And that's
So,
free.
yeah. Thank you, Gretchen, for joining us. This was like a super little workshop, so thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.